JoyDailyTV sat down with Chuck Creekmur, founder of AllHipHopcom, to discuss his open letter to Nicki Minaj as a father with a daughter that ignited a whirlwind of support and hatred from the public. What's up, it's your girl Joy Daily, and I am chilling with somebody that is making all kinds of crazy headlines right now with a very controversial letter that you wrote. Would you please introduce yourself to all the good people?
Hey everybody, I'm Chuck Creekmur, Jigsaw, aka the CEO of AllHipHopcom.
Legendary in the world of hip-hop, in the world of blogs. AllHipHopcom has been around for many years. Actually one of the founding forefathers of hip-hop blogs. When were you established, for those who don't know?
We formally, myself and my business partner Greg Watkins, we came into a partnership in 1998, so that's kind of our formal starts. But prior to, he had the URL, and you know, even before that it existed. We partnered in 98.
Wow, that's a very long time. So you actually, would you credit yourself with starting a lot of trends in the hip-hop world?
I mean, you know, I think we've done a few things. You know, we started mobile wireless transmission of news to two-way pagers in 2000. We pioneered daily news in the hip-hop, in a hip-hop respect. You know, so we've done some things.
So now, right in this letter, this is something kind of, would you say that this was out of character for you?
No, it's not out of character. That's what I'm so baffled about.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people, unfortunately or fortunately, just read this letter and thought I wanted to get attention, or just started writing letters. And
okay.
You know, my last tweet says Google me. I'm like, just Google me. It's not that hard. So I am a person that loves hip-hop, loves Black America, black people. I love all people, but I have a particular concern with black people, and I love my daughter, and that's kind of where that whole letter started and, you know, came from.
What did you want to happen when you wrote this? Like,
oh, I didn't want anything to happen. I mean, I told somebody, was like, why isn't it on All Hip Hop? I was like, I really didn't think this was going to happen. It was just a basic write up that I did. I mean, it wasn't even that well thought out, to be honest. It was just straight from the heart. So obviously it came out of the Anaconda cover art.
yes, of course.
And to me, Nicki's a boss. I think she's a leader. I think she's an inspiration to millions of people. I also think that in a larger context that she's representative to folks who may or may not even see black people on a regular basis. There's a lot that she represents, I feel. And just from a pure hip hop standpoint, I think that she's capable of immense greatness.
Of course.
Right. And
she's come a very long way.
Right. And last but not least, once again, you know, really to home in on why I wrote it is because I had this special request to remove a certain image that no longer represented her, and that was a strong request, and it was a strong ask, and I complied with that ask based on the fact that if somebody tells me I don't do this anymore, or I'm not about this anymore, or this, I want to promote my image in another way, then I'll comply.
Now, do you think that Nicki Minaj was doing, you know, what the hip-hop industry wants, or what the hip-hop industry tends to promote? She was doing her job in a sense?
Well, you know, I think hip-hop's extremely competitive, so I think if she wanted, she succeeded in getting everyone talking, including myself. So, I mean, that's what a part of this game is.
Do you feel like a lot of artists don't have choices in the hip hop world?
I mean, when you're talking about disenfranchised people, when you're talking about poor people, when you're talking about people that don't have opportunities in this world or in this land, America, which is a lot of people, I think that then you're presented with a limited range of options that you can move and be successful, which, you know, perhaps is why Nicki operated the way she did. But let's remember, Nicki is not the first, nor will she be the last to do something like this. But I also, you know, so to answer your question, I think that there are plenty of artists that do this. There's a so-called gangster rapper doing this right now to feed his family, and it's hard to tell somebody there's a legal way to feed your family, and you don't present another option for them to feed their family.
So would you say that hip hop kind of promotes that hypersexual, big booty, big titty, video vixen, girl, sex type of image?
Absolutely, definitely. I mean, you know, going back to what people said about me singling Nicki out and not having anything to say to men, that's just really not the case. I mean, one of my most memorable writings that I did was, you know, years ago in 2007. I wrote an actual I said that the name of it was Hip Hop Owes Women an Apology, and it really takes men to task as to what they've done to promote these, you know, super sexual images, and I even noted that, you know, there are men behind a lot of the women who we love, but perhaps it may or may not represent who they are. And so I'm always vocal. I've always been vocal. I've been a journalist and a writer for many years. And I am not just a journalist. I am a participant in hip hop.
So does that mean that you might have been responsible for some of these trends and some of these? Right.
Well, yeah, you know, and a lot of people are calling me a hypocrite, and they're welcome to have an opinion about that. However, I don't ever take the position as a businessman or as an individual to tell you what you should listen to or tell you what you should like. It's AllHipHop.com for a reason. It's not myhiphop.com, or it's not someone else's hip hop. It's all hip hop, and therefore we show love to just about every form of hip hop. I don't love every form of hip hop, and I told another commenter that if I put on all hip hop only what I liked, not only would you all hate it, you all would not, you know, we wouldn't be in business for another month. You know, I'm very particular about what I listen to.
So you just feel like she started something, and that's how she started her career, by kind of being in your face. And then she kind of stopped doing that for a bit, and then she resumed it with this cover here, and that was alarming for you because now her primary fan base is all of these young girls and boys that really love her and are inspired by her.
Yeah, I mean, everything is contextualized, you know, kind of based on it being a letter from a father who has a daughter. But if I had a son, I could also write a letter. Okay. You know, it's not just directed to young girls, and I have a line or two as it relates. I have so many friends that are females who've gone through you know, everything from molestation to rape to you know, and the statistics are staggering. You know what I'm saying? Everybody out here is not, you know,
it's not a perfect world.
Right. It's not a perfect world, and I prepare my daughter for every scenario, everywhere from martial arts to the talks we have to watching and what she takes into her body, you know, food wise, to what she takes into her mind. So I'm a serious parent as it relates to that, but I also care about other people's kids too, and I care about Nicki Minaj as well. You know, there are people who tell me things that I don't know, or tell me their opinions or their presumptions or their views on why she may do that. Maybe, or perhaps, you know, some people feel she doesn't have a choice in the matter.
Now, in the letter, it seemed like you were giving Nicki Minaj, you know, advice as to what she could do to advance her career. Do you think that she would be making the same type of money and have the same level of success in her career that she's having right now if she wasn't so hypersexual and so out there with her body and her curves?
Again, you know, people think that there's something wrong with sex, you know, or people think that I feel that there's something wrong with sexuality or women being sexual. I don't think that's not how I feel. Sade is, to me, the sexiest woman on earth.
Very true.
I mean, literally, even at her present age. You know what I mean?
She's so classy with it.
Exactly. And that's just my opinion.
There's a difference.
Absolutely. And I feel like Nicki's success has in some part has been predicated on the fact that she homes in on visually what men want to see. Mm-hmm. I mean, I said it in the story. What man, come on, you know what I'm saying? It's Nicki Minaj in a thong. Like, it is what it is. Yeah, it's quite possible that if she didn't have that particular image, that she wouldn't be as successful. But then again, if you look at others in the past, like Lauryn Hill, Salt and Pepper, who were sexual, who were attractive, or whatever you want to call it, they were tremendously successful. So it's very possible.
Right, and the fact that little girls are now looking at that image, mm-hmm. and they're internalizing that, and now they're saying, well, I want to do that too.
Yeah, well, I think that I always, particularly obviously as I've gotten older, think that we definitely need to change things around. And again, I always look at things in a broader context. Where we were in the 80s and 90s is not where we are now. We've seen, again, particularly with African Americans, we've seen for the first time in history us taking steps backwards. Now, that's not our fault necessarily. A lot of that has been thrust upon us through a number of ways. So, for sure, that's not just our fault, but I do think that at times we can be our own worst enemy. And again, this is not specific to Nicki. It's a very across-the-board sort of notion.
But, I mean, it seems to me, though, like hip-hop is always talking about hoes and bitches, mm-hmm. and it is so disrespectful to women in general that, for your daughter's sake, is it even safe for her to listen to any?
No. Make no mistake about it. She doesn't listen to unfortunately, any present-day hip-hop. I let her listen to Run DMC. I let her listen to, every now and then, like maybe a Jay-Z record, or like the pop, the singles, some of the singles, but I think part of the concern that I had, obviously, from my fatherly standpoint, is that, at some point in time, she's going out into this world, and she will intake things that I don't give her. Right. She knows all about Iggy Azalea. I have never once played that record in her presence.
Wow.
She knows every word. She knows every word to that song, Fancy. So,
you're going to hear it one way or the other, whether you expose it to them or not.
And the same thing applied to when we were younger. The difference, I think, is it's a different brand of hip hop, and there's much less diversity. So,
Now, would you take back, now that you've seen all the response and all the controversy that mm-hmm. you've stirred up on the internet, would you take back anything you said in that letter now?
I don't think I have any reason to take back anything I said in the letter. I don't think it was malicious. I do think it was a caring write-up. I think that anyone that really reads what I said would need to probably have a conversation with me for further clarification. But I said we supported you. I bookmarked it with support and love at the end. And even tried to make it a little funny, like, can you follow me again? I mean, there were years ago Nicki retweeted me, and I was like, oh, wow. Snap, I got all these new followers, and you know me, whatever, you follow me, blah blah blah, and here's a funny joke for you. Never mind.
Oh man.
No, like, I'm a fan of Nicki Minaj, like, for real. So the hate, people, it's cool, ride or die. If somebody disses Chuck D, I'm like ready to knuckle up. Like, that's how I feel about that particular artist, and that's because he transcended the art. He became a part of my life and my times and my, you know, and who I am shaped me as who I am. And if you're in a position like that and you are shaping people's minds and who they are, then you have a higher power and a higher responsibility. I have a higher responsibility owning All Hip Hop.
Of course.
Despite the fact that people are being critical of me and perhaps some of the stuff on All Hip Hop, there's no one on the face of this earth that can't say that All Hip Hop has been one of, if not the most responsible website online in a mainstream context. Obviously, there are niche sites that are only devoted to criticizing. RapRehab.com is one of those sites. Right now, it's only their sole purpose is to critique hip hop. But our editorial section has been there from day one. I've been on TV. I've defended hip hop when Bill O'Reilly was going at All Hip Hop. When Nas did that album, the Untitled album, which was originally, you know, the N-word album, I was on there and I rocked out, you know. And so, you know, I don't have any desire whatsoever to tell Nicki Minaj what she should wear, what she shouldn't wear. That's not my responsibility. That's not who I am. And quite frankly, I don't even care.
Do you feel like a lot of artists don't have choices in the hip hop world?
I mean, when you're talking about disenfranchised people, when you're talking about poor people, when you're talking about people that don't have opportunities in this world or in this land, America, which is a lot of people, I think that then you're presented with a limited range of options that you can move and be successful, which, you know, perhaps is why Nicki operated the way she did. But let's remember, Nicki is not the first, nor will she be the last to do something like this. But I also, you know, so to answer your question, I think that there are plenty of artists that do this. There's a so-called gangster rapper doing this right now to feed his family, and it's hard to tell somebody there's a legal way to feed your family, and you don't present another option for them to feed their family. Go ahead.
Do you think it's an artist's responsibility to like censor their stuff? Because I feel like you're saying, basically they're powerless. They're trying to make money, and not.
Well, I didn't say they were powerless.
Not
no,
powerless.
I don't feel they're powerless.
Okay.
Make no mistake about it. I think more people don't realize the power they have.
Okay.
And they don't understand the power they have. So no, not at no point in time do I think I think hip hop is the most powerful form of music that's probably ever been created in this country. And I say that because there's been a very concerted effort to suppress certain parts of hip hop and promote other parts of hip hop. So I mean, at the end of the day, we're kind of talking, you know, about a balance in music thing, not just hip hop, but all music. And so, you know, everybody knows I was reared in the late 80s and 90s, and you know, I feel very clearly that even back then, you know, when you had a Latifah or a Lauryn Hill, and we had Lil' Kim, really wasn't so bad. It wasn't, you know, there was a balance thing that existed across the board, not just females, but across the board. And yes, we complained a lot then, and you know, hip hop polices itself more than anyone. So this is just an extension of that, and it's not hate.